Box-Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box-free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today we're going to make Steak Primavera, which is basically pasta primavera with steak in it. So you can just do that. Okay, let's see, I need to move this over a little bit. I'm going to get my pan going because this hot plate's a little bit wacky. Okay, so normally I make pasta primavera and then sometimes I add meat. So that's when I call it my steak primavera. So what was I going to do? Oh, back here I've got my noodles going already, just because that's not that exciting. And I'm adding just like a tablespoon of peanut oil, or you could do olive. And then later I'm going to add butter for my actual fat that has a good nice flavor. But I'm first going to get my onion going. And when I do this with or without meat, I guess I kind of always use the same amount of peppers. I do one onion, and then however many peppers or different colors I happen to have in the fridge. So my orange and yellow are a little bit older and they're a little more wrinkly, which is fine because you won't notice that in this meal. But I need to use them up, so it's a really good thing to use when you've got some peppers in the fridge. Now I'm going to just cut these to be long strips, so I'm cutting them in half, and then just these little half moon shapes because I want bigger pieces today. So normally I would cut them and then go across again for little teeny diced onions, but I want big, nice chunks today to go with my long fettuccine noodles. And you can do any kind of noodle you want. Ooh, this is already hot. All right. Oh, my eyes. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Whew. I always forget that onions do that because, like, when you're chopping them, it doesn't really hit you until you're, like, done. So I just forget. And then, like, all of a sudden when you're basically done and think that there's nothing wrong with onions, then it hits you. Okay, so let's see. We're going to just hope that that keeps cooking. And then I'm just going to cut up some peppers. So this is how I do it for mine. You can cut them any way you want. I cut the tops off and then I just kind of go down the side and try to get some of that rib off right there. But you don't have to, and I should get another bowl because I'm not going to use all this pepper because I want the tricolor thing, or I'd have two colors if I happen to only have two, but I want that different color, and I don't need 3 full peppers in my dish. I just don't want that much peppers. If you did, then just use your whole entire thing. And then I'm just chopping these again to be nice long pieces like that. So, and I need to check my pasta quick. I do have my timer that's about to go off, so I don't want to forget about it. So I do fettuccine, but you can do anything. I oftentimes do penne pasta with it. I don't do rotini hardly ever with this dish. I guess I want something that's kind of straight and long to match my peppers and onions, which is kind of silly, but I don't know. I like it to be all, I mean, that's how it is, I think, in the restaurants. You know, you get pasta primavera and I've always gotten it with like fettuccine or linguine or something, not like macaroni. That'd be kind of silly. But whatever, that's what your kids want and they'll eat it because it's macaroni, then do macaroni. Oh, okay. So now I've got my yellow and my orange, and then I'm going to do my red. So if it was like Christmas time, you could do red and green. I've probably done that before because I'm kind of cheesy that way. And then you'd have like a Christmas supper kind of thing. And I'm not going to do any more on that one. This is a big honking pepper. And I'm going to go crossways. Ooh, that's kind of dangerous. You know, I was going with the ribs before. And now I'm going across the ribs, which means I get that little bump versus this. So don't do it that way. So we'll go with the grain, with the rib. I like that anyway. Then more of them are just straight instead of that little curve, which again really doesn't matter. Okay, so these are pretty long, you know, like they're as long as my finger, and if you don't want that, just chop them right in half again. But I don't care. This dish is a very much of a like lumberjack, Paul Bunyan sized dish, you could say. Everything's big. The big noodles, ooh, big pieces of onion, big pieces of pepper. I don't know. That's just how I've always made it, I guess. And that's okay. I think it looks pretty. So you can see already how pretty it is, and I haven't even added the meat. Oh, and the meat's I gotta pull that out of the freezer. I'll tell you why I have it in the freezer. Hang on a second. So these didn't cut. Oh, I guess it did. Okay, so now I seem to have lost most of my heat. So I'm gonna check my pasta because I'm thinking that might be done. All right, let me grab one of these puppies out of here. It's like almost perfect, so I'm going to just turn the water off. I'm going to sit for just a second. Hopefully I won't forget, and then it won't get overdone. Maybe I should drain them. I don't know, pasta's always a hard thing to get just perfect in my opinion, especially when my stuff isn't ready. Usually I do kind of start the noodles at the same time, but I thought I was going to maybe actually get them cooked all before I started this, and it just didn't happen. So my goal is to get these cooking. And then I put this in the fridge basically when I started that, and this is just a piece of meat, like bottom round steak. Okay, like I never buy steak. This is probably I don't know. I just hardly ever buy it. So I'm gonna, this looks like a lot of meat. Well, we're just gonna throw it in because I'll just have leftovers. Okay, but my point is I make this oftentimes with meat, but never a steak because I always have used venison roast or venison steak or whatever venison I have, and then I just cut it into little pieces. So I rarely use beef for this, but you certainly can. Feel like an old butcher here throwing my slab of meat around. Okay. It's not very funny, but it just seems like I never have this much meat for it. Thought maybe it would smell like something, but it doesn't. I don't know. Okay, I think I'm going to salt this, and then I'm going to pour my noodles out because it's been a couple minutes. And I think this needs a lot of salt, even though we're going to add cheese, and I can't forget my garlic. I don't like to cook my garlic too much or too long because I feel like I don't know, I don't want it to get overdone, I guess, you know. And so that little tablespoon of oil has really coated all my veggies, and they look just beautifully shiny. Okay, so the reason I put this in my freezer was to get it firm, which it didn't work at all. I'm going to cut through this little, whatever, I call it the silver skin. I don't know if that's the same thing in beef. I have no idea. Tendon, I don't know what, it's not a tendon. I don't know what it is. But the thing with this kind of meat or whatever meat you put in here, I don't mind that it's got some marbleizing and some fat in it. I'm okay with that little bit of fat, I guess, really is what it comes down to. And that, I think, is because I don't mind it in there because I think it keeps your meat a little more tender, but I don't want... There's this other little piece of... Any little, silver skin, that's the only thing I know what to call it. I'm certainly not a meat expert, but I do know cutting that out of your meat does keep it more tender because whatever it is, it's not like it's just fat. So it's like a... Gosh, I don't know. I should not even talk about it if I don't even know what it is. But I cut it out, you know, like when I have my wild game, my birds my husband brings home, and I cut out all those tendons. Those are tendons for sure, those white shiny things. I just don't know what it is in beef, so maybe it is. My point is they cook up and you can't see them, so nobody knows that they're in there, but I totally believe that they make your meat tougher because that tendon isn't ever going to be soft and nice to eat. So I believe getting rid of it does make your, whoopsie, I was supposed to do my thing. Makes your meat more tender. Okay, so I got my thing, my strainer all in the sink here. I'm just gonna dump this out, like that, and get my extra noodles here. Okay, and then because I want my noodles to stay kind of warm, I'm gonna put them right back in the pan because this is not hot, but I want my noodles to stay a little bit warm. And I gotta make sure this isn't going too crazy. Okay, that's looking all right. Okay, so now I'm gonna dump these back in without hopefully too much of a mess. See my dog's right there. He's like, oh yeah, you're gonna drop something. But I didn't. Oh, here comes the other one. Oh boy. Okay, so I gotta get this meat cut up. I don't like to add my meat until my peppers are almost done because this is really thin slices, and so I don't need very much time for my meat to cook. Now I got a dog on each side. They can smell all this meat and they're just like, please lady, just drop it. Because I do. Oftentimes I drop something on the floor. So they have learned. But if I would have put my meat in the freezer earlier, it would have been way harder. This is like super soft and didn't do a thing. So if your meat's kind of frozen, then it's harder and slices just paper thin. Or maybe you're just really good at it and you can just do it yourself. You need a really good sharp knife too. So, but this is a lot of meat. Whew. But whatever, I got a lot of peppers. Hopefully I have a lot of pasta. And then this will be it. This is one of those meals that I do when I'm like, oh, what are we going to eat? And then I look in the fridge and I'm like, oh, I've got a pepper. Even if I have just one pepper, I'll be like, yep, we're having pasta primavera. And then usually I don't even add meat because I'm usually not prepared. I don't have anything thought out. So, Steak Primavera is kind of special and yummy. And I gotta cut this last bit. Okay, so I don't even know how much steak I had. Oh, here, I can look. I had 3/4 pound. Okay, well, so there we go. 3/4 pound of meat in my 1 onion, and would say that's what, maybe 2 peppers I used. Okay, so now that this is almost done, I'm going to dump this in. And I kind of make a little, hang on, let me see if I can get this closer for the camera. Okay, I think I should add, no, I'm not going to add more fat yet. Okay, I kind of make a hole is what I was saying. I never finished my thought. I make a little hole for all this little meat to go into. And then I'll see if there's any kind of fat from all this marbleized meat. But otherwise, I feel like I might need to add more butter. This is a dish where I like it to be really buttery, so I'm probably going to add half a stick or something. Oh, I should do my thing. My garlic. Okay. I knew I was going to forget. I wait until the end. And by then, I'm thinking about a million other things and kind of forget. Okay, so I'm going to just pick off this little thing here. I always, even though I've got this nice garlic peeler, whatever, crusher thing, I always take the peeling off, and then I always take this off, and I don't even have to, but I just do. It's just habit, I guess. Okay, my pasta's fine. Okay, so squish, and then you scrape it off like that with your handy dandy gadget, or you just put it on the cutting board and chop it all up, or you don't even use it, or use garlic powder, whatever you want. You could do 6 garlic cloves if you love garlic. I just don't love garlic that much. So I want some, but I don't want it to be overpowering, I guess. Okay, now this proportion of meat to peppers is looking absolutely perfect in my opinion. If I wouldn't have had a 3/4 piece of steak, I would have had too many peppers. But I do love this for just the veggie aspect of it, because I'm not a huge meat fan, but I do eat it, but I could go without it. And so this dish is like, well, that's why I'm like, oh, we don't have meat tonight for pasta primavera. That's perfect with me. Okay, then I'm going to do some cheese. So normally what I do is put this in my big bowl, which is over there. And then I do my pasta and my peppers, and then I grate cheese over the whole entire thing. But since we're sitting here with not a lot to do except wait for this to cook, I'm going to just grate some right now. So this happens to be asiago, but you can use parmesan. And you don't have to have the solid if you just have little grated stuff in your fridge that you use for spaghetti. But I was going to show you how big these pieces get when you do it with a regular size grater. So I don't know if you can see you know, they're like substantial pieces of cheese, which I personally like because I have like the, I don't know where it is, it's in there somewhere. The zester kind of, the itty bitty one that, oh yeah, like makes it, oh my gosh, for shavings, like cheese shavings. Okay, but I don't want cheese shavings on here because I want a big chunk of cheese to give you that like, woo, that zest and that little pick-me-up. Because this is pretty simple food here. It's just, I don't add any seasonings, which you could do, but I don't. So it's a very, what am I saying? Mellow. It's good northern Minnesota meal because it's just not very strong flavors. Okay, now look at these monster pieces of cheese. So, I just grated that because I had time, kind of thing. So, and this is, I don't know, I just used whatever you want. There's no measurement here because you just put on as much as you want. So today, because I've done that, I will probably just serve it up separately because I know like I like more cheese. My husband not so much. He'll put some, but not as much. And then you can cheese your stuff as much as you want to. Okay, now my meat is looking almost done. It only takes like 2 or 3 minutes. You can see like this piece still has a little bit of raw meat, which I personally don't think is that big of a deal, but I see a couple pieces in there that aren't quite done. So I'm going to eat this one though. It's so tender. Okay, but it definitely needs more salt, which I'm going to get a bunch of salt from my cheese too. So I don't want to like go crazy on it. But you do need the salt. Okay, and then the butter is really to help coat. I'm going to do 1/4 of a stick. It's really for your pasta because like this looks pretty nice and, you know, greasy and coated and looks all fine and dandy. But once you add all that pasta, that good old flavoring is not going to be enough. So now I'm going to let all this butter melt, and then that's going to be really nice. And then I'm going to add them together, and then we're going to be done. Because I think this meat's done enough. I mean, like if you don't like to eat any pink, then just keep cooking it. And when you think it's done, you decide. But I do think it's done. And now I just need my butter to melt. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that, oops, I think I might have lost my heat again. Okay, I'm going to put my pasta in here. That's what I need to do. All right. Okay, and this is like 3/4 pound. Oh shoot, I should have put my butter in here because this is what's all sticky. I need it. Hang on, I'm just going to grab it right out of there. Right there. Plop. And then I might have to add more, but I kind of forgot that I didn't rinse this when I was not using it like immediately, so it's a little bit gloppy gloopy, but that's okay. Once I add all this good stuff, it'll work. I wonder if I should add it in there. Okay, I'm not going to add it in there because then I don't have a good, well, I could get my other, I don't want to scrape my pan. I don't have a good tongs, I was going to say, but this is kind of sticky. So we're just going to switch, okay, to this tongs. So this will scrape my pan, this will not. So it's very important to have the right kitchen gadget in your house because this is my beautiful pan, and if I put that metal thing on there, it would not be a beautiful pan for very long at all. Oopsie. That's what my dog is waiting for. Right there. When I'm at the stove, then it falls onto the floor. And then they're like racing for it. It's a big contest. Okay, so this is looking delicious, I think. I mean, it's certainly not like the prettiest thing you've ever eaten, but it's looking pretty good. But I do think I need more butter. And so, okay, I was going to say too, if you don't like the butter flavor, or if your family loves the olive oil flavor, then just use olive oil instead of butter. But not everybody in my family is a fan of the olive oil taste, and that's what you're going for here is the taste of your fat. So you don't want to pick a fat that they don't like. And everybody in my house likes butter, so we're going with butter. And that's it. We're done. I'm going to taste it again. Put some cheese on mine. Actually, I don't even think I'm going to bother. Okay, I'm not going to put my serving bowl because I'm not going to serve it right this second. But I do need to get myself a little plate so I can taste it. see how delicious it is. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my burner off and unplug this puppy. And I'm going to serve myself a little steak primavera, add some cheese, and enjoy the dish. I don't know, it's pretty fast and pretty substantial, you know. I mean, by the time you get your pasta and your protein and whatever. Oh, and the other thing is, most primaveras have mushrooms and zucchini, which my family are not always a big fan of, so I rarely add that. Kind of depends on who's home, but that's about it. I mean, usually we're all together, so I don't do that kind of stuff. So here I got everything: meat, pasta, cheese, and pepper. Mmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Yum. You can taste the cheese, and that's why I like the bigger chunks. But if you want that angel hair, really fine stuff, just grate it that way. Or if you just want the Kraft or whatever right out of the tub, use that. All right, we're gonna call that done. I have to put it in the serving bowl. I don't like to have, oh, look how pretty that is. See, isn't that nice? Can you guys see that, I hope? I don't know. Oops, and there's a piece of meat again. There's my second dog going. I knew it. Okay. This piece of meat we'll throw right there. And this is really hot. Okay, that's it. So then you put cheese on it, or you can serve it like this. And whoever is eating at your house can help you decide. Okay. Steak Primavera. Pretty dang easy in my opinion. So thank you very much for watching Box Free with Stephanie. I hope you like the show. I hope you make Primavera either with or without the steak, and you love it. And I appreciate your time watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.